Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my recordings. I wanted to do this recording to address a couple of questions that have come into me over the last, maybe 6 months or so from collectors. And this question primarily comes from either new collectors or collectors that have recently returned to the hobby. And I think that there's a lot of reason for this. So I think that when a new collector comes into the hobby, they see all of the big books that are out there, and they see the price tags associated with those books, and they wonder. And I think that if someone is a collector that has returned to the hobby after being away for a long time, they too see the price tags associated with many of the books that they used to see back in the day as kids. And back then, they thought that those books were really expensive then, and they certainly think that they're really expensive now. But the question that comes to me, and it comes in many different forms, in many different phrasings, but essentially, the question is the same. And the question is, can I build a fantastic collection in today's environment? That is essentially the question that people are asking me is it possible to build a killer collection that I can be proud of? And I'm actually going to try to answer that question in this recording. And honestly, the short answer is no. The short answer is no. It is not possible. It is not possible. And I simply say that to be able to set some expectations. Because I think that new collectors and even collectors that have returned to the hobby may have a little bit of a mismatch in expectation, right? So this notion of being able to assemble this collection that is comprised of Action Comics #1 and Detective Comics #1 and, Amazing Fantasy #15, and all in super high grade, right? Fantastic Four #1 and Avengers #1, all in super high grade. There is sometimes, I think, a misperception that is what a good collection actually looks like. And I'm going to be honest with you, that is honestly what a fantastic collection looks like. But I think by and large, those days of being able to put together that type of collection may have passed us by unless you have buku bucks. If you have buku bucks, you can do exactly what I just described a few moments ago. You can have all of those books and many more in super high grade, and it will be perfectly fine for you. But if you don't have buku bucks, if you're like a normal person that works a job, if you're a normal person that works a job, that has responsibilities, that has a family, that has bills, that has, whatever it is going on, right? Where you don't have buku bucks to spend crazy, just crazy amounts of money on comics, right? I still believe, honestly, that it is possible for you to assemble a collection that you can be proud of. And I am not saying this based upon some anecdotal stuff, some theoretical stuff. I'm not saying this based upon things that I believe to be true. I am saying it based upon things that I know. I am saying it based upon things that I actually know because I've done it. I've done it. For those that don't know my background, I returned to this hobby at the end of 2017 into the beginning of 2018. And I returned to this hobby, and like many people, I was shocked and appalled by the prices of comics these days. I remember when comics were back in the day, when I was in the 90s, when I was in high school, when I was collecting comics. There were comics that I used to see when I used to go to a con, when I used to look in a Wizard magazine, and those comics seemed to be so expensive to me at the time. They seemed to be so expensive, but they really weren't, right? For a teenager that worked at Radley's, they were really expensive. But for an adult, right, an adult with a job, they were not expensive. But today, yes, these comics are expensive. They are expensive, especially if you have responsibilities like a family and like children, and if they actually like to eat and wear clothes and have a shelter, right? They are expensive. There's no doubt about that. But I believe that it is possible to still assemble a collection because I've actually done it. I returned to this hobby and I was very much shocked by the prices of books. But there were things that I did. There were things that I did when I returned to this hobby that allowed me to put myself in a position where I could actually have a collection that I could be proud of, that I felt was a respectable collection, not necessarily from the vantage point of other people, but from my vantage point. When I think about all of those books that I wanted, when I think about those books that I used to see in Wizard and on the wall at a con or on the wall at a comic shop, I now own many of those books. And I did not have those books, or at the end of 2017, at the beginning of 2018, I did not have those books. I had some books from my childhood, like the first appearance of Gambit, first appearance of Bishop. I had some of that stuff in the collection because I was collecting back then. And so I had some of that stuff. But many of the books that you actually see in my videos on the walls behind me, that you may have seen in my sugar box videos that I have here on the channel, though I did not have those books. If you haven't seen those videos, I definitely want to encourage you to watch the sugar box videos because they're cool. They're cool videos. But I did not have those books from my childhood that I have now, dusted off and found in mom's basement and sent off to CGC. I worked for those books. I had a goal. I had an objective for my collection, and I was focused, and I executed. And I was able to put those books into my collection. And what I will tell you is that what I did was nothing special. I'm the first to admit that it was nothing special, other than I had some goals, I'd set some expectations for myself, and I stayed focused. There's no science here. No magic here, I should say. There's no magic. There's nothing special here. Certainly no one bought me those books. I went out and I busted my tail in order to build the collection that I have today, a collection that I am proud of. I'm very proud of it, but the reality is this: I did it, and so can you. That is the truth. I firmly believe that. So I want to, over the course of this recording, offer you a couple of things to think about, some things for you to consider. And like many of my videos, there are going to be things that I'm going to be talking about here that will resonate with you. And there are going to be some things that I throw out to you that will not resonate with you. There are going to be some things that you're going to hear. You're going to be like, I don't think Reggie knows what he's talking about. That's okay. If it doesn't resonate with you, chuck it. If there are things that speak to you, keep them. If there are things that you hear that need to be tweaked and modified to make them work for you, then you do that. I am giving you things to consider because I don't know your exact situation. Only you know that. But I want to throw a couple of things out to you. So the first thing is something that I've already kind of touched on, and it's really around setting some realistic expectations for yourself and your collection. I think that is really important, is to set a realistic expectation for what you can accomplish and what you can do based upon your situation, your financial situation, your amount of discretionary funds, your relationship with your significant other. All of these things affect how much money you can actually spend on comics, because I certainly don't recommend that anyone buy comics and end up going into debt because they are spending above and beyond what they can actually afford, right? They are going beyond their discretionary funds. I would never recommend that anyone put themselves in a position where they're buying comics and they're doing so to the point where it is detrimental to their relationship, whatever that relationship happens to be. I would never recommend that. And so you want to definitely set some realistic expectations for what it is that you are going to do, because I think that that's super important. Having some parameters for how you're going to execute is critical. And I'll tell you, I have a fantastic relationship with my wife, but we've developed that over years. And so a lot of the stuff that I've actually done with my collection, she's been in support of, or she hasn't really cared. There are certain things she just does not care about, and be completely honest. So set some realistic expectations that are appropriate based upon, your financial situation. I think you also have to set some expectations based upon what it is that you are actually trying to collect. And so I don't want to assume that we are all the same type of collector, right? There are different types of collectors out there. And to me, that's what makes this all really fun and exciting, is that there is a little something for everyone, right? There are people out there that love Silver Age and Bronze Age and Copper Age. There are some that love the Golden Age comics. There are some that love original art. And so I think that what you have to do is you have to set some realistic expectations based upon, what it is that you're interested in, right? Because, what's realistic for a Golden Age collector in terms of how much money he or she is going to have to spend for Golden Age books is very different from how much a Bronze Age collector would have to spend for his or her collections or keys versus an original art collector, right? Those are all very different things. So I think you have to give thought to what is it that I want my collection to be, and what is it that I'm passionate about, and what is it that I want to collect, and what is realistic in that situation. So for me, I'm a Silver Age guy, right? By and large, I am a Silver Age guy. That I dig Silver Age. I also dig Amazing Spider-Man, right? So it is not realistic for me to say that I am going to buy Amazing Fantasy number 15 at a 9.4, right? I don't have a, cool, 800 grand, 700 grand sitting around to be able to buy that book. I don't have that. I don't have that sitting around for that purpose. That would cause all kinds of issues in my life. But because I am a Silver Age guy, because I do want Amazing Fantasy 15, what is realistic for me might be a 1.8 to a 2.5, right? And there are some things that are happening with that book that is affecting the price of it, where the price is actually coming down, so you can actually afford, you can spend a certain amount and get more book for it. So there are things there, but what I'm doing is setting some realistic expectations for my collection, for my wallet, based upon what it is that my life's situation is. So I think that that's important. One of the next things that you definitely want to do is you want to set a goal. What is and this is something I've talked about extensively on the channel. And so if you have never heard one of my videos before on goal setting, you definitely want to search the channel, because there are ample videos around goal setting. So you have to set a goal. What is it that you want your collection to be, right? Are you going to try to amass the best Silver Age collection you could, right? Is your collection really about Bronze Age keys because you believe that Silver Age is, maybe too expensive for you, but you believe that Bronze Age is what the future is going to be, right? You believe that Bronze Age is the next Silver Age, right? There are some people that believe that, and there are some people that are like, I'm going hardcore on Bronze Age books because more and more people are getting priced out of silver, and so they're looking at the Bronze Age as the next best choice. The same way many guys look at the Silver Age that like Golden Age stuff, right? They're like, Golden Age too expensive, so I'm going to go silver. And now silver is starting to get expensive, and some people are saying, now I want to go after bronze. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to set a goal. What is your goal for your collection? By having a goal, it gives you focus. It allows you to decide where, how, and when you actually want to spend your money. Because if you come across a book that is a modern book, for example, you can look at that book and you can say, nice book, but that book is not for me. That book does not fit into what it is that I am trying to make my collection, because my collection is based upon Bronze Age books. And that's just a really gross example, right? Because if you come across a really nice modern age book that's a great price, you may actually just want to pick that up, because, collections in many ways aren't just one thing. But I'm giving you a gross example because I think that if I do that, you can figure out what a realistic example might actually be for your collection. But the point is, you want to have a goal, because the goal gives you focus. It gives you parameters for being able to execute things and being able to evaluate decisions, right? Being able to evaluate what it is that is in front of you. If you have a goal, it's very clear what you should do because you have some parameters. One of the next tips that I want to offer up is that in this day and age, you should absolutely not limit yourself to FeeBay. Don't limit yourself to FeeBay, aka eBay. And I've seen new collectors, and I've seen collectors that are newly returning to the hobby automatically turn to eBay. Why? They do it because it's fish in a barrel. It is literally fish in a barrel. You type in a couple of keys and you are able to identify comics all across the country that you've always wanted. Super easy, super boom, it's right there, and all you have to do is press that buy now button and it is on its way to you in like 3 to 5 days. It doesn't get much better than that. But the challenge with using Feebay is that it is a marketplace that brings together buyers and sellers, but the prices that are there are somewhat inflated, and they're somewhat inflated for lots of different reasons. Sometimes you have sellers that are trying to capture future value of a comic. So they believe that this comic that they're selling is going to go up in value in the future, and so they build that value into the price that they're asking for the book when the book isn't really worth that future value, right? So they try to get you to pay for it to hedge their bet, but that's in their favor. It's not in your favor. Another reason why you sometimes see books overpriced on Feebay is because of the fees, right? There are fees associated with both PayPal and also eBay that eat into someone's profit. And so instead of allowing that to eat into their profit, they basically tack those extra percents onto the price of the book. And they offer it up to you. That way they can still make their money. Another reason that books are overpriced is because people try to make up a little bit of profit on shipping. They will actually put shipping fees that are above and beyond what it actually takes to ship that book to you, because they're trying to make a couple of extra bucks. And a couple of extra bucks in a seller's pocket is better in their mind than a couple of extra bucks in your pocket, right? And so there are those reasons that I just cited and many more as to why Feebay tends to be a little overpriced. But I say this to say that there are many places out there where you can actually pick up books. And I actually have a couple of videos on the channel. If you search for Regie Collects Secret Hunting or Regie Collects Resources, there are plenty of places where you can actually find books at more affordable prices. There are apps, there are websites where you can actually find it. But I'm going to even take it a step further. Go out into the environment and find books. Hunting is one of the most enjoyable things in my mind that is associated with this hobby. Hunting for comics in the wild is one of the greatest pleasures in my mind, right? Going to a local comic shop and hunting through long boxes, trying to find really cool books is just an exhilarating experience that if you haven't yet discovered it, I want to encourage you. Treat yourself. I want to encourage you to go out and hunt. Find a shop that is nearby. Go by. Go there. Go there. Go by there and hunt. And then find another shop that is a little further away and go there and hunt. And find one that is a little further away and go there and hunt. And so on and so on and so on. And just go out to these local comic shops and hunt, because it is fantastic. And once you do that, you're going to be out there, you're going to be driving, you're going to be seeing all kinds of stuff. You're going to be seeing antique stores, and you're going to be seeing flea markets, and you're going to be seeing garage sales. You're going to be seeing this, that, and the other. I want you to go. Go experience it. Hunt. By going out there and hunting, you are going to experience all kinds of stuff. And the lessons that you are going to learn from hunting in the wild will be invaluable. You will learn how to spot an actual good book versus a bad book. You will know the difference between a reprint and the real book, because you are inadvertently going to buy the reprint and you are going to kick yourself when you get home, and you will learn a valuable lesson from it. I am not wishing that on you. What I am simply saying is it is something that I have experienced, and it is something that other people in this hobby have experienced, and you never forget it. I did a video on the channel where I showed a Star Wars book that turned out to be a reprint. And I thought that I had struck gold. And I have not taken a video down. This was early on. I've not taken a video down because it was a valuable lesson for me that I will not forget. And so you're probably going to make similar mistakes where you're going to pay a little too much. You're going to buy the wrong book. You're going to buy a book that you have not pulled out of the plastic, and then you're going to get home and you're going to pull it out of the plastic and you're going to realize that something's missing. You're going to realize that something was clipped from it. You're going to realize that there was color touch. There are all kinds of invaluable lessons that you will learn by hunting in the wild that will prove to be invaluable to you. And you can shortcut some of these things. Absolutely, absolutely. But what I will say is that you are going to make mistakes, but you definitely do not want to beat yourself up. These are the lessons that we learn on the way to creating a collection that we can be proud of. It is a rite of passage. And I definitely hope you take fewer lumps than more lumps, right? I definitely want to say that, but don't beat yourself up when you take a lump, because mistakes happen and you will never forget those mistakes and you will learn from them. One of the other things that I've been talking about a lot on the channel is this idea of the blue ocean versus red ocean. If you have not seen that video, I definitely want to encourage you to go back and watch that one, because that is a video that I am extremely proud of. The red ocean versus the blue ocean. And really, the principle behind this thing is to fish where the opportunities are. If everyone is talking about this book is the hot book, then that may not be a book that you want to pick up, because that the prices for that book have already been inflated to the point where it more than likely exceeds the value of that book. And so if you are fishing in the red waters, the red ocean, and you are buying a book that has already been inflated beyond its actual value, and you buy that book, then the question becomes, will you actually make money or will you lose money on that? And this isn't necessarily about flipping books or any other kind of stuff, but why would you want to overpay for something when you potentially could get that very same thing cheaper by waiting just a little while longer? Right? So the concept behind the blue ocean is that you go where the opportunities are, and the opportunities are everywhere for blue ocean books. If you sit down and you really think about what are the expectations that you have for your collection, what is the goal that you have for your collection? If you're hunting not on Feebay, but you're hunting in the wild, you're hunting locally, you're hunting at local comic shops and in the community, then you're essentially potentially going after blue ocean books that have not been marked up, that have not had fees and all that kind of stuff tacked onto it. So you're kind of sort of hunting in those blue waters, which means that you're going to be able to get books that you really want for your collection, potentially lower than what you would pay if you went online. Hunting the blue ocean will potentially save you a tremendous amount of money and also headache. There is nothing worse than paying too much for a book that you actually do not want in your collection. A book that you purchased because someone else told you to purchase it, doesn't fit in your collection, you buy it, you pay a ton of money for it, and then the next thing you know that book has basically become worthless. There is nothing. Well, let me not overstate it. There are many things that are really bad. But this is also one of those things that will sting just a little. When you look at that book and you can't remember why you bought it, because it wasn't your decision. You bought the book because someone else told you to buy it. And then you spent your hard-earned money on that book. You bought it, and now that book is worth a whole lot less than what you paid for it. And you never read it because you don't read that title. And now you have it, and then what do you do with it? Setting realistic expectations for yourself, setting a goal, hunting locally, fishing in the blue ocean. That's why all of these things will lend themselves to you being able to build a collection that you can be proud of. And again, you're going to make mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen. Just assume. Just assume that is going to happen, because it will. But if you do these things, I firmly believe that if you do these things in a year or 2 years, you will have a fantastic collection that you can actually be proud of. I believe that it is possible. And I want that for you. I want that for you. So I definitely want to encourage you. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel. I encourage you to go look at the videos that are on this channel, because what I have tried to do here at Regie Collects is I've tried to build out content that is helpful to the comic book community as a whole, but certainly helpful to new collectors and those that are newly returning to the hobby. There are many videos that I've set up on this channel for that purpose. So I want to encourage you to go find those videos, to look at the playlist that I've set up. Get that education. Decide what works for you and pull it in. Decide what doesn't work for you and discard it or tweak it, but do the research. Take the time to ensure that you are as educated and as informed as you can possibly be, so that you don't waste time and you don't waste money, and that you enjoy this hobby, because that right there is the most important thing, that you enjoy this hobby because it's amazing. I'm going to be honest with you. It is amazing. So I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this recording. If you haven't yet subscribed, I definitely want to encourage you to do that. Turn on notifications so that you can stay abreast of all the content that I release from the channel on a weekly basis. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so. You can do it on Instagram at Regie Collects, or you can send me an email to reggie@regiecollects.com. Take care. Because this video is all about building a really cool collection that you can be proud of, I want to give you an opportunity to add an awesome book to get you started down that path. And I'm offering this book up thanks to my relationship with Go Collect. And so this is the video that maybe you've been waiting for. It is the weekly giveaway announcement video in which I actually give you a phrase that you need to enter the giveaway. And to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is head over to the community tab. You find the post where I'm talking about this week's giveaway. You click the link, you go to MailChimp. You plug in 3 pieces of information. 2 of those are about you, and 1 of them is a phrase that I'll give you in just a moment. You plug that information in, you hit the submit button, and now you are in the running for this week's giveaway. All that I ask is that you be a subscriber of the channel, a resident of the United States, a resident of Canada, or have a mail-in address in the US. That's basically it. You then tune in to the Ready, Set, Go preview show, which airs on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, to find out if you are the winner. Prizes are awarded within 1 week, or up to 1 week after the announcement. And so you want to make sure that you tune in to the Ready, Set, Go preview show to find out if you're the winner before that time elapses. Now, with all of that said, here is this week's Go Collect giveaway book. It is Teen Titans. It is a showcase featuring the Teen Titans number 59. So showcase number 59. It is a 9.0 off-white to white pages. This is the 3rd appearance of the Teen Titans. A really fantastic pink cover. DC does a really good job with these pink covers. I absolutely love them. But this is this week's Go Collect giveaway book. And the phrase that you need for this week is teens. Teens. T-E-E-N-S. Teens is the phrase. Good luck.